As conflict escalates in the Middle East, you would think that Donald Trump's main concern with Pete Hegseth, of course, besides his drinking, would be how unqualified he is to meet this current moment. He would be worried about foreign policy decisions above all else when it relates to Hegseth. But of course, this is Donald Trump, so what is typical is not the case. The thing he is most focused on, having to do with Pete Hegseth, is his failure to properly plan his birthday. Oh, you heard that right. A leaked report is revealing how Donald Trump called and berated Pete Hegseth over his parade failure, and we are going to get into it. But before we do, we need to start with one of the other ways this parade was such a failure for Pete Hegseth, the obvious conflict it comes into with what Donald Trump claims his agenda is. That was pointed out by Mikey Sherrill right here.
With all due respect, I'd like your nomination. When will we see it?
There has not a single admiral or any military official has turned down a position that's been.
So when will we see
provided.
your nominee for the Chief of Naval Operations?
In due time, for all the right reasons.
Again, I think we've seen the managerial incompetence. Okay, let's move on to budgetary incompetence. You missed the deadline to submit a draft defense budget to Congress, which makes it impossible for us to complete our work on the NDAA or appropriations, and makes it more likely you'll receive delays in funding you need for new acquisitions, programs, and other priorities. Additionally, you're blowing money on poorly conceived operations and vanity projects for President Trump. Retrofitting the Qatari jet to serve as Air Force One will cost about $400 million. The parade in D.C. this weekend will cost upwards of $40 million. Your bombing campaign in Yemen cost about $1 billion, and a week later they were having missile strikes in Israel. Your operations in L.A. will cost tens of millions of dollars, and you claim to be cutting costs at the Pentagon, but all I see are wasted dollars better spent addressing our most pressing threats like China. So, Mr. Secretary, what priorities have you cut funding for to pay for these projects?
Ma'am, I would just say your list left off securing the southern border.
So, Mr. Secretary, what priorities have you cut funding for to pay for these projects?
We make trade-offs every day, and I would imagine what we want to spend on is quite different than what the previous administration did.
Well, I think
Made
the American
those changes quickly, and they're reflected in this budget, and we're very proud of them.
I think the American people can see why I'm so concerned about this incompetence. Thank you, and I yield back.
This administration began by claiming the agenda of the Trump presidency was going to be trimming the fat and cutting the waste, getting right near the bone, because we were going to be so efficient and so streamlined. But that was never the case. And just how incompetent and unqualified Pete Hegseth was should have been the biggest sign that